Hello and welcome to the Pioneer Accounting Center, or PAC, training video series. My name is Jan. In this video we will be covering expenses, donations, and memorials. Often a club, council, or chapter wants to supplement their volunteer time given to another organization or honor the memory of a deceased member by giving a monetary contribution, so you would complete a voucher to have a check issued directly to the other organization. We'll look at both types of vouchers. For either type, please keep in mind that the donation or memorial needs to be to another not-for-profit organization. Not necessarily 501c3, but it does need to be a not-for-profit. Also, please remember individual pioneers should not make donations or memorial donations from their personal funds, whether by cash, check, credit card, online donations, or from an advance. The IRS sees this as potential double dipping, which is that the Pioneer member potentially could deduct the donation from their personal income taxes and get reimbursed for it. So we cannot reimburse the Pioneer for this. Advance funds cannot be used for donations or memorials because once that advance check is cashed, it becomes the same as part of your personal funds. Therefore, you would need to complete a voucher with the other organization listed as payee. Let's start with the donation voucher. At the top of the donation example voucher that you see on the screen is a place for a voucher number. Now this is left blank on the voucher form and is a convenience for you to use. We don't use it here in the office. The line below the voucher number asks for the group, chapter, and unit information. If you have not already done so, please watch the PAC training video, Introduction to Website and Voucher Basics, which will show you how to gather the information you'll need in order to complete this line. Once you determine what information this line should contain, it will not change for your unit whether you are completing the voucher for an expense, a deposit, an advance, or a transfer. Of course, if you prepare vouchers for more than one unit, please make sure that the unit name and unit number match and are correct for each unit that you're preparing a voucher for. This mostly pertains to chapter treasurers, and you can find that information on your monthly balance sheet report. On our sample voucher, you will see that the unit name is chapter. There is a unit within every chapter called chapter. This is usually administrative, but some chapters have only one financial unit. And you'll see that the unit number for chapter also matches the number identifier for that chapter. For this example, we are making a donation, so we will check the expense box. And you can just click the box. For the date column, since there are no store receipts or invoices, this would be the date that you are preparing the voucher. The description, as always, please give a complete but concise description. It should state how you want your donation to be used. This is where you would also include the date of the event or walk if applicable, the name of the event, participant, or team if you're sponsoring such, what items you want the other organization to purchase with your donation. We will include as much of this information on the check stub as we can so that the other organization can direct your donation to the purpose you intend. If it's necessary for your description to be quite long, please remember that it is okay to break your description onto 2 lines. The taxable column, this is not used on donation vouchers. The amount, this is how much you wish to donate. The account code. Monetary contributions are coded to 6710, monetary contributions. State, this is where you are preparing the voucher. The state where your club or council or chapter is. Project ID. Please refer to the project ID list on the PAC page of the Pioneer's main website for a list of available project IDs, along with descriptions and examples. The internal use column. This is for PAC use in tracking additional data that we need to use here in-house. This column replaced the old 990 column, which is no longer used, so you would leave this column blank. Total, if you're itemizing donations, if you want to contribute a certain amount for a certain purpose, you can do that in your description and amount columns. And then the total would add up here for you if you're filling it out electronically. Otherwise, you can add those up by hand. For the payee information, payee information must be on the voucher anytime a check is needed. Please make sure that the address is correct, including a suite number or apartment number. Checks have been delayed or returned to our office because the post office could not deliver them because of incorrect or incomplete addresses. Remember that the payee name will be another organization, not a Pioneer. But if the check is being mailed in care of a Pioneer to be presented or hand-delivered, please put that information in the mail to and address lines. You would put in care of your Pioneer's name and then your Pioneer's address here. For the approvals section, the submitted by, this is the person submitting the voucher for approval. It is usually the same person who prepares the voucher, in a lot of cases the unit treasurer. The submitted date, this is the date that the submitter is giving it to the approver. Approved by, this should be a different person than the submitter. It's an extra pair of eyes to make sure that everything is correct. Some things to keep in mind about approvers for donation vouchers. Your generally allowed approvers include the unit president, immediate past president, and vice president, as well as others allowed by the unit's executive board. Now, especially if it's a small unit, it could be a treasurer or a member at large that are also allowed to approve vouchers. An electronic signature is okay, and an email approval is also okay. When you do that, you would put in the body of your email, when you send the voucher to your PAC associate, you would say something like, I approve the attached voucher to local food pantry in the amount of $500. No photocopied signatures, please. There should not be signed blank vouchers that are filled in later. The voucher should be completed first so that the approver can look everything over before signing it. If your total amount here is $5,000 or over, your PAC associate will forward the voucher and any supporting documentation to the group board member on the international board for their additional approval. We would still need your unit approval down here, but because of the amount, it would need this additional approval from your international board member. And this may take a little extra time. The voucher approver is vouching for or making sure that the coding, any backup documentation, and totals are complete and correct. This should be the last person to look it over and then send it on to the PAC associate. And you would put the date in here when you are sending it on to your PAC associate. The section in the lower left for PAC use only, you can leave that blank. We use this section when we are processing your voucher. Now when you send your voucher in, there won't be any receipts or invoices for a donation voucher, but some units do send along the solicitation letter or card they received from the other organization. Please avoid phone pictures of those. They do get distorted and come across as unreadable. Please submit your voucher promptly. Often the check is needed ahead of time for a presentation or to be hand-delivered. Also, please keep in mind that your PAC associate may ask for a W-9 form to be completed by the other organization and returned to the PAC office before the check can be issued. All right, let's move on to memorials. They're very similar to a donation voucher. The same applies across the top for your unit information. It is an expense. Keep in mind, memorial donations need to be submitted on a voucher and processed through the PAC office, so a check can be paid directly to the other organization. Remember, no personal donations. We cannot reimburse the Pioneer for personal donations. Almost everything is the same as for a donation voucher, except that in the description area, please include the name of the deceased, in this case in memory of Jane Doe. The account code will again be 6710, monetary contributions. Your project ID in this case will be memorial. It's okay to include the obituary with your voucher. The other guidelines for submitting and approving the voucher are the same as for a donation voucher. And again, you would leave the PAC use area blank. Thank you for watching this video on expenses, donations, and memorials. If you have any questions, please contact your PAC associate.